Dipford Strand, May 1593. A place where the river's ebb and flow mirrored the tides of fortune and misfortune. Here, amidst the clamor of shipwrights and the shadows of looming vessels, a reckoning was at hand. Tucked away from the main thoroughfare, a leaner bull's victualling house offered a semblance of quiet refuge. But within its walls, a drama had unfolded, a life extinguished, leaving behind a stain that no amount of ale could wash away. The scene inside spoke of sudden violence. A chaotic tableau of spilled drink, scattered food, and overturned furniture marked the spot where a life had abruptly ended. The grim reality of death hung heavy in the air. Christopher Marlowe, poet and playwright, lay still and lifeless. His genius silenced, his future stolen, his earthly drama concluded with a single, brutal thrust. Ingram Fraser, a man of service and acquaintance, stood ashen-faced, the horror of the moment etched upon his features. The deed was done, and the weight of its consequences threatened to crush him. Nicholas Scurrs, a shadowy figure with a past shrouded in ambiguity, his unease was palpable, his desire to escape the scene almost a physical presence. Robert Poley, a man of secrets and hidden agendas, his presence added another layer of intrigue to the already murky circumstances. His silence spoke volumes. Panic set in as Fraser attempted to erase the physical evidence of the deed, but the stain on his conscience would prove far more difficult to remove. Scurrs, ever the opportunist, sought to secure his own safety, his whispered words hinting at a deeper conspiracy. Poley, the master manipulator, absorbed Scurrs' frantic plea, his silence a testament to his control over the situation. As darkness descended, hurried departures marked the end of the grim affair at Dipford Strand. Secrets and lies rode away on horseback, leaving behind a tangled web of unanswered questions. The official record, the coroner's inquest, would attempt to piece together the events of that fateful day. But would it reveal the truth, or merely bury it beneath layers of obfuscation and deceit? The reckoning had begun, but the truth remained elusive, hidden in the shadows of Dipford Strand. Cambridge, 1584. Christopher Marlowe, a scholar of divinity at Corpus Christi College, found his true calling not in sermons but in the rhythm of verse. The hallowed halls echoed less with prayer and more with the clandestine whispers of dramatic prose forming in his mind. His academic pursuits were often disrupted, marked by unexplained absences that stirred suspicion among the college authorities. Rumors whispered of clandestine activities, hinting at a life beyond the confines of scholarly pursuits. London, 1587. Marlowe burst onto the London theatrical scene with Tamburlaine, a play that redefined dramatic conventions. The sheer force of its language and the audacity of its themes captivated audiences, marking the arrival of a bold new voice. The Rose and the theater became his domain. He collaborated with fellow playwrights, debated the nature of tragedy, and challenged the established norms of dramatic composition, forging a new path for English theater. Dr. Faustus became his most enduring work, a profound exploration of ambition, damnation, and the limits of human knowledge. Its themes resonated deeply, challenging the very foundations of religious dogma. But his success came at a price. His plays sparked controversy, attracting the ire of religious authorities who viewed his works as heretical and a threat to public morality. He challenged the status quo, and the status quo pushed back. His outspoken nature and unconventional views often led to heated debates and confrontations, earning him both admirers and enemies in equal measure. He was not a man to shy away from a fight, whether with words or fists. Despite the controversies, Marlowe remained undeterred. He continued to write, driven by an insatiable desire to explore the complexities of the human condition and challenge the boundaries of artistic expression. The Jew of Malta, though controversial, further showcased his talent for crafting complex characters and exploring themes of religious hypocrisy and societal prejudice. His pen was a weapon, dissecting the ills of society with ruthless precision. He was a man of relentless ambition, constantly striving to push the boundaries of his craft. His plays were not mere entertainment. They were a reflection of his own intellectual and spiritual struggles. He lived a life of passion and excess, embracing both the triumphs and the tribulations of his chosen path. His genius was undeniable, but his fate remained uncertain, shadowed by the intrigues and dangers of the Elizabethan era. Little did he know that the currents of fate were about to carry him towards Diptford Strand, where the final act of his dramatic life would tragically unfold, leaving behind a legacy of brilliance and mystery. The whispers started subtly, like drafts under a door. Marlowe's name linked not only to scandalous plays but to something far more dangerous: espionage. His time at Cambridge, conveniently interrupted by government service, became a breeding ground for speculation. Robert Poley, a known intelligencer, was one thread in this clandestine tapestry. His presence near Marlowe in Diptford, so close to the playwright's demise, cast a long shadow of doubt over the official narrative. Marlowe's trips abroad were frequent and shrouded in secrecy. Officially, he was a playwright seeking inspiration. Unofficially, rumors suggested he carried messages, gathered intelligence, and played a dangerous game on behalf of the crown. Documents surfaced, intercepted correspondence hinting at Marlowe's involvement in covert operations. Coded messages, hidden identities, and veiled references to matters of state fueled the suspicion. Nicholas Schurz, a known associate of Marlowe, had ties to the shadowy world of intelligence gathering. His presence at Diptford only deepened the mystery. Was he a protector, a handler, or something far more sinister? The Babington Plot, a conspiracy to assassinate Queen Elizabeth and replace her with Mary, Queen of Scots, loomed large in the backdrop. Some whispered that Marlowe played a crucial role in uncovering the plot, feeding information to Walsingham's network. Sir Francis Walsingham, the Queen's spymaster, built a formidable intelligence network. Marlowe, with his sharp intellect and linguistic skills, would have been a valuable asset. But was he expendable? Some argue that Marlowe was too outspoken, too rebellious to be a reliable spy. His heretical views and controversial plays made him a liability, not an asset. Ingram Fraser's connections to the Walsingham network, however tenuous, added another layer of complexity. Was he acting on orders that day in Diptford, or was it truly a drunken brawl gone wrong? The official inquest provided a tidy explanation, a dispute over a reckoning. But the inconsistencies remained, the unanswered questions lingered, fueling the suspicion of a cover-up. Poley vanished after Marlowe's death, melting back into the shadows from whence he came. His silence spoke volumes, a testament to the secrets he carried to his grave. Was Marlowe a playwright, a poet, a spy, or a victim? The truth, like the murky waters of the Thames, remained elusive, lost in the currents of political intrigue and historical uncertainty. The whispers of espionage continued to echo, a haunting reminder of the price of dissent and the power of secrets. The document, brittle with age, spoke volumes in its stark omissions. The coroner's inquest report into the death of Christopher Marlowe was a masterpiece of brevity, offering just enough detail to satisfy the Queen's law and obscuring enough to fuel 1,000 conspiracies. Ingram Fraser's testimony formed the backbone of the official account. He claimed the events at Dame Eleanor Bull's lodging were triggered by a dispute over the reckoning, the bill for their food and drink, a petty quarrel escalating with lethal speed. Skers corroborated Fraser's version, painting a picture of a drunken Marlowe, quick to anger and quicker to draw his dagger. His account, though consistent with Fraser's, felt rehearsed, each word measured and devoid of genuine emotion. Poley, the Queen's messenger, offered the most detailed account. His presence at Dipford that day was explained as a matter of urgent state business, a convenient justification for his involvement in what was, on the surface, a common tavern brawl. The dagger presented as the murder weapon was examined. The report noted its length, its sharpness, the angle of the fatal wound. But it failed to address the implausibility of Marlowe, a man known for his skill with words, not weapons, being killed in such a manner. The report glossed over the specifics of the wound itself. A dagger to the eye, piercing the brain. An unlikely blow in the heat of a tavern quarrel. It seemed a deliberate, almost practiced strike. Dame Eleanor Bull's establishment was described as a reputable if modest alehouse. Yet questions remained. Why were these men, Marlowe, Fraser, Skers, and Poley, meeting there? What business truly transpired within those walls? The inquest concluded swiftly. The verdict, death by misadventure, accidental death. A convenient label that closed the case, silencing further inquiry and burying uncomfortable truths. But Poley's involvement raised the most troubling questions. As a known agent of the Crown, his presence suggested a far more sinister motive than a simple dispute over a tavern bill. Was he there to protect Marlowe, or to ensure his silence? Skers' history was murky, hinting at connections to the criminal underworld. His presence suggested a web of deceit and conspiracy far beyond a mere drunken brawl. And Fraser, the man who delivered the fatal blow, remained an enigma. Was he a pawn in a larger game, or a simpleton caught in circumstances beyond his control? The inquest offered no answers, only unanswered questions. The official record offered closure, but it failed to provide true understanding. The death of Christopher Marlowe remained shrouded in mystery, a testament to the power of secrets and the fragility of truth in a world of political intrigue. Ingram Fraser's life was one of servitude and quiet desperation. Before the events at Dipford, he was a man lost in the shuffle of Elizabethan London, a cog in the vast machinery of noble households. Now, under the harsh glare of suspicion, his past was being dissected, his future uncertain. His association with Nicholas Skers was born of necessity, a bond forged in the murky underbelly of London's social hierarchy. Skers, a man of sharper wit and questionable morals, offered Fraser opportunities, but also entangled him in a web of intrigue that would ultimately lead to Dipford. Fraser's relationship with Marlowe was complex, a peculiar mix of admiration and resentment. He saw in Marlowe a man of extraordinary talent and reckless abandon, qualities he both envied and feared. The playwright, in turn, seemed to view Fraser with a detached amusement, perhaps unaware of the simmering tensions beneath the surface. Fraser's testimony at the inquest painted a picture of a drunken brawl gone tragically wrong. He claimed the dispute arose over the reckoning, the bill, and that Marlowe, in a fit of rage, had attacked him first. But his words rang hollow, filled with inconsistencies and omissions that fueled suspicion. The claim of self-defense was the cornerstone of Fraser's story, the justification for his actions. But could a man of Fraser's stature and experience truly be overpowered by the slender, albeit athletic, Marlowe? The question lingered, unanswered, casting a shadow of doubt over the official narrative. Sker's role in the events at Deptford remained shrouded in mystery. Was he merely a witness, as he claimed, or was he a key player in a larger conspiracy? His presence at the scene, coupled with his known connections to influential figures, suggested a more sinister involvement. Robert Poley, the Queen's messenger, a man with ties to Walsingham's network, was the most enigmatic figure of them all. His presence at Deptford raised the specter of political intrigue, suggesting that Marlowe's death may have been more than a simple tavern brawl. Following Marlowe's death, Fraser received a royal pardon, a swift and convenient absolution that further fueled suspicions of a cover-up. His subsequent life remained largely obscure, his actions shielded from public scrutiny. He entered the service of Sir Thomas Walsingham, a relative of the spymaster, Francis Walsingham, a detail that deepened the mystery surrounding Marlowe's demise. Was this a reward for services rendered, or simply a coincidence? Fraser's financial dealings after Marlowe's death revealed connections to figures of considerable power and influence. These transactions, though seemingly innocuous, hinted at a network of patronage and obligation that extended into the highest echelons of Elizabethan society. Did Fraser act alone, driven by personal animosity or desperation? Or was he a pawn in a larger game, manipulated by forces beyond his control? The truth, like the man himself, remained elusive, shrouded in a veil of uncertainty. Deptford Strand remained a silent witness to the events of that fateful day, a place where truth and lies mingled like the muddy waters of the Thames. The reckoning for Christopher Marlowe, and for those who played a part in his death, remained unfinished, a haunting enigma echoing through the corridors of history. Nicholas Scurrs, a name that clung to the edges of the Deptford tragedy like river mud. Not a master spy, not a nobleman, but a fixer, a go-between, a man who knew people who knew people. His life was a tapestry of small cons and petty schemes, until it intertwined with the fate of Christopher Marlowe. Robert Poley, on the other hand, moved in loftier circles. A known associate of the Walsingham network, he was a courier of secrets, a man accustomed to shadows and deception. His presence at Deptford was a red flag, a whisper of conspiracy that refused to be silenced. Scurrs' connection to Marlowe was less clear. He was a friend, or at least an acquaintance, drawn into Marlowe's orbit through mutual contacts. But what hold did Marlowe have on him? What debts or allegiances bound him to the playwright's fate? Poley's association with the intelligence community cast a long shadow. Was he there to protect Marlowe, or to ensure his silence? The question hung in the air, heavy with the scent of treachery. The inquest testimony of Scurrs and Poley offered a sanitized version of events. A quarrel over a reckoning, a sudden fight, a tragic accident. But the words felt hollow, the details too neat, the omissions too glaring. Fraser's account, though seemingly straightforward, failed to fully align with the narratives provided by Scurrs and Poley. Subtle inconsistencies emerged upon close examination, like mismatched pieces of a puzzle, hinting at a larger, more sinister picture. Scurrs claimed to be a mere bystander, an unfortunate witness to a tragic brawl. but his nervous demeanor and evasive answers raised doubts. Was he protecting someone, or himself? Poley, ever the professional, presented a carefully constructed narrative, his words chosen with precision, his demeanor controlled. But his very composure felt unsettling, too perfect, too rehearsed. Examining the timelines, the movements of Skurs and Poley in the days leading up to Marlowe's death revealed a pattern of clandestine meetings and secretive errands, a pattern that suggested a carefully orchestrated plan. Perhaps Skurs resented Marlowe's talent, his fame, his recklessness. Perhaps he saw an opportunity to gain favor with those in power by silencing a dangerous voice. The motives were as murky as the Thames at low tide. Poley, a seasoned operative, was likely acting under orders. His motives were not personal but strategic. Marlowe was a threat, a liability, a loose end that needed to be tied up, for the good of the realm, or so they would claim. Skurs and Poley, two shadows, intertwined with the enigma of Marlowe's death. Were they merely pawns in a larger game, or active participants in a conspiracy that reached the highest echelons of power? The answer, like the truth about Dipford Strand, remained elusive, buried beneath layers of deception and political intrigue. England, 1593. A kingdom teetering on the precipice of religious war. The echoes of the Reformation still reverberated, dividing loyalties and fueling paranoia. Marlowe, a product of this tumultuous era, found himself caught in the crosscurrents of faith and power. Queen Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen, a Protestant monarch in a Catholic world, navigated the treacherous waters of international politics with cunning and resolve. Her reign was a constant battle against foreign invasion and internal rebellion, a struggle for the very soul of England. The threat of Catholic Spain loomed large, its armada a recent memory. Spies and informants were the Queen's eyes and ears, ferreting out dissent and uncovering plots against the crown. Robert Poley, a man of shadowy allegiances, was one such operative. Catholic recusants, those who refused to attend Anglican services, were viewed with suspicion and often persecuted. Secret masses were held in clandestine locations, their participants risking imprisonment, torture, or even death. Marlowe's plays, with their themes of ambition, forbidden love, and religious questioning, challenged the established order and pushed the boundaries of acceptable thought. His characters, often complex and morally ambiguous, reflected the uncertainties of the age. The Church of England, still relatively young, sought to solidify its authority and suppress any challenges to its doctrines. Heresy was a grave offense, punishable by excommunication, imprisonment, or even burning at the stake. Sir Francis Walsingham, the Queen's spymaster, maintained a vast network of informants, both at home and abroad. His agents were tasked with uncovering plots against the Queen and protecting England from its enemies. Some historians suspect Marlowe may have been one of those agents. Political rivalries were rife within the court of Queen Elizabeth. Powerful figures vied for influence and patronage, their machinations often shrouded in secrecy. Even seemingly insignificant figures like Ingram Fraser could be caught in the crossfire. The atmosphere of suspicion permeated every level of society. Anyone could be an informer, a double agent, or a pawn in a larger game. Nicholas Skurs navigated this treacherous landscape with a practiced ease, always seeking an advantage. The consequences of dissent could be severe. Those accused of heresy or treason faced public humiliation, torture, and a gruesome death. The fear of persecution silenced many voices and drove others underground. Marlowe's outspoken views and controversial writings made him a target. His association with known heretics and his rumored involvement in espionage further heightened the suspicion surrounding him. He lived on the edge, courting danger with every word and every action. In this climate of religious and political turmoil, the death of Christopher Marlowe becomes more than just a tavern brawl. It becomes a symbol of the dangers of free thought, the price of dissent, and the dark secrets that lie hidden beneath the surface of Elizabethan England. The river runs on, carrying with it the unanswered questions of that fateful day in Deptford. The whispers persisted, weaving themselves into elaborate tapestries of suspicion. Marlowe, the playwright, the scholar, the alleged spy, a dangerous combination in a world where heresy and treason were capital offenses. Was his death merely a drunken brawl, or a carefully orchestrated silencing? The first theory clung to Marlowe's radical beliefs. His plays, filled with blasphemy and challenges to religious authority, had already drawn the ire of the church. Was he silenced to prevent further spread of his atheistic ideas? His association with figures accused of heresy, his open disdain for religious dogma, these were not qualities admired by the powerful elite. The church, with its vast reach and influence, certainly had motive. Another theory focused on Marlowe's alleged involvement in espionage. Had he gathered secrets that powerful men wanted to keep buried? His past association with Sir Francis Walsingham's network cast a long shadow. If Marlowe was indeed a spy, then he possessed information that could destabilize kingdoms. The Queen's own advisors might have deemed him too dangerous to live. Documents, though scarce, hinted at payments received for unspecified services. Was this evidence of his work as an agent, or simply a reward for his literary talents? Poley, Skurs, and Fraser, all connected to powerful figures, all present at Deptford. Their testimonies, conveniently aligning with the official narrative, raised more questions than they answered. What were their true roles in the events at Deptford? Were they simply unfortunate bystanders, or were they instruments of a more sinister design? Fraser, the alleged killer, claimed self-defense, but was he acting alone or under orders? The truth remained shrouded in doubt. England, a nation on the rise, faced threats from within and without. Religious tensions, political rivalries, and the constant threat of foreign invasion created an atmosphere of paranoia and intrigue. The potential motives were numerous: religious zealotry, political expediency, personal vendetta. But which, if any, led to the tragic demise of Christopher Marlowe? The stage was set, the players positioned, the script written in blood. The truth of Marlowe's death, like a half-remembered play, remained elusive, a haunting enigma in the annals of history. The inquest, a perfunctory dance with the truth or a deliberate obfuscation. The document itself offers few answers, raising more questions than it settles. The manner of death, the motives of the men involved, all shrouded in a mist of conjecture and half-truths. What secrets did he carry to the grave? Was he a pawn, a player, or simply a victim of circumstance? Marlowe remains an enigma, a flickering candle in the storm of Elizabethan intrigue. Even now, centuries later, the truth dances just beyond our grasp. Fraser, a man of shadows lost to history. Was he merely a tool, a blade wielded by unseen forces? Or did he act alone, driven by personal demons and the heat of the moment? The truth remains locked within him, buried alongside Marlowe. Skurs, a shadowy figure, a facilitator of dark deeds. His missing finger, a symbol of a life lived on the fringes of society. He knew more than he revealed, his silence a testament to the dangers of his world. Poley, the Queen's man, a master of secrets and deception. His presence at Dip Ford casts a long shadow, suggesting a conspiracy that reaches to the highest levels of power. His silence is perhaps the most damning indictment of all. The scene of the crime, a humble dwelling in Dip Ford Strand, but the very ground seems to whisper of secrets, resisting any attempt to uncover the truth. The tavern is gone, replaced by newer structures, the echoes of that fateful day fading into the mists of time. The world lost a voice, a playwright whose words challenged convention, whose characters dared to explore the depths of human ambition and desire. His plays, fragments of genius, remind us of what might have been. His legacy lives on, carried by the actors who breathe life into his words. But even in his triumphs, there is a sense of sorrow, a reminder of the price he paid for his daring vision. The game of shadows, espionage, deception, and betrayal were the currency of the realm. Was Marlowe a player in this dangerous game, or simply a pawn sacrificed for the greater good? Centuries later, the debate continues. Historians and scholars dissect the evidence, searching for clues that might unlock the mystery of Marlowe's death. But the truth remains elusive, a phantom that dances just beyond their reach. The river flows on, indifferent to the dramas that unfold along its banks. It has witnessed countless tragedies, absorbed countless secrets, and like the river, the truth about Marlowe's death may forever remain hidden, swallowed by the currents of time. The reckoning at Dip Ford Strand, a tragedy, a conspiracy, or a mere accident. The truth may never be fully known, but the questions remain, haunting us across the centuries, a testament to the enduring power of mystery and the enduring legacy of Christopher Marlowe. The enigma of Christopher Marlowe's death endures, a Gordian knot of speculation and conjecture. The official record, the coroner's inquest, offers a stark, almost sterile account. A brawl, a dagger, a fatal wound above the eye. But behind the stark facts lies a labyrinth of possibilities, each more intricate and unsettling than the last. One theory paints Marlowe as a victim of his own outspokenness, a casualty of the religious and political tensions that gripped England. His plays, with their daring explorations of forbidden knowledge and challenges to religious dogma, made him a target for those who saw him as a threat to the established order. Was he silenced for his heretical views, his pen forever stilled by those who feared its power? Another narrative casts Marlowe as a pawn in a larger game of espionage and political intrigue. As a possible agent of Sir Francis Walsingham, he may have possessed knowledge that made him expendable, a liability to those who sought to maintain their power and influence. Was his death a carefully orchestrated assassination, a sacrifice made in the name of state security? The official account, the tavern brawl turned fatal, offers a simpler, perhaps less satisfying explanation. A dispute over a bill, fueled by drink and hot tempers, leading to a tragic and senseless death. But even this seemingly straightforward scenario is clouded by inconsistencies and unanswered questions. Why were these particular men together on that fateful day? What was the true nature of their relationship with Marlowe? The characters themselves, Fraser, Skurs, and Poley, remain enigmatic figures, their motives and roles shrouded in ambiguity. Each had connections to powerful individuals and clandestine networks, raising suspicions about a conspiracy to silence Marlowe. Were they merely instruments of fate, or active participants in a carefully planned execution? The setting, Dip Ford Strand, a place of transient encounters and shadowy dealings, adds to the atmosphere of mystery and intrigue. It was a world where secrets thrived and lives could be easily lost amidst the ebb and flow of the river. Was it a drunken brawl gone wrong, a politically motivated assassination, or a complex web of deceit and betrayal that cost Christopher Marlowe his life? The truth, it seems, remains elusive, lost in the shadows of history. The evidence is circumstantial, the witnesses unreliable, and the official explanation riddled with inconsistencies. The dagger itself, the supposed instrument of death, whispers no secrets, revealing nothing of the hands that wielded it or the motives that drove them. Multiple scenarios present themselves, each plausible yet incomplete. Marlowe, the heretic, silenced by those who feared his radical ideas. Marlowe, the spy, betrayed by his own network. Marlowe, the victim of a senseless act of violence, caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. The mystery of Marlowe's death serves as a reflection of the uncertainties and dangers of living in a turbulent era. It reminds us that truth can be elusive, history can be manipulated, and power can be used to silence dissent. Yet, despite the unanswered questions and unresolved mysteries, Christopher Marlowe's legacy endures. His plays continue to captivate and inspire, his words echoing through the centuries, a testament to the power of art to transcend time and circumstance. The reckoning at Deptford Strand remains an open book, its pages filled with speculation and intrigue. The final verdict rests with each of us, to weigh the evidence, consider the possibilities, and decide for ourselves what truly happened on that fateful day in May 1593. The enigma endures.